But I can't help but wonder if by keeping a mask on and keeping it in place, that if I might have put some germs, some of the virus onto the mask and breathed it in. I don't know, but I got it. We'll see what happens from here. But the reports of my demise are very premature. Before you go anywhere with the president or have a meeting with the president, we always are tested. And they have a real quick test, and the quick test was positive. And they said sometimes we get false positive, and so they did the one where they stick the swab way back up in your sinuses. And anyway, that one came back. It takes a little longer to get the answer, but it was positive. So I didn't have any of the symptoms that you see listed for the coronavirus. But anyway, now I need to self-quarantine. I thought it was 14 days, but the doctors at the White House and the attending physician here at the Capitol say you got to self-quarantine for 10 days once you actually test positive for it. So that's what I'll need to do. And it's really ironic because, you know, a lot of people have made a big deal out of my not wearing a mask a whole lot. But in the last week or two, I have worn a mask more than I have in the whole last 4 months. And I think one, fake news media up here had tweeted out that Nadler admonished me yesterday at the judiciary hearing for not wearing a mask, but he didn't admonish me. I was wearing my mask. There were a couple of other Republicans that were not wearing their mask at the time. But I can't help but wonder if by keeping a mask on and keeping it in place, that if I might have put some germs, some of the virus onto the mask and breathed it in. I don't know, but I got it. We'll see what happens from here. But the reports of my demise are very premature.
So you mentioned you got a couple of tests. I did that swab one. It was just super unpleasant and uncomfortable. When did you take those tests, and when did you know for sure that you had contracted COVID-19, even if you are asymptomatic?
Yeah. Well, that was at the White House this morning. Had to be there at 7 and get tested. And they do the first one that is just, they take a swab right inside the entrance to your nose. And then when that came back positive, they said, we'll get some false positives. So let's do the more invasive one where they stick the swab way back in your head. And that one came back. It took an hour, but got the results. That was positive. So I didn't go with the president this morning to Midland and Odessa. I wore a mask most of the time, especially around folks, but we also had natural resources hearing, and except for when I was speaking, tried to keep the mask on as well. So anyway, I've alerted people that I was around to make sure they knew and that they could watch themselves and get tested. Anyway, I don't know where it came from, but apparently I have it.
What are your next steps? Are you going to quarantine at home, or?
Yeah, I'll quarantine at home for 10 days and then make sure the doctors say that was long enough. And if they do, then I'll be heading on elsewhere, doing the job in person instead of online.
Now, I'm glad you brought up those reports of you being seen around the Capitol without wearing a mask. You say you have been wearing one, and now you've contracted COVID-19. So do you have anything to respond to those claims, or does this change your view on wearing a mask?
No, it doesn't. But now that I know I have it, obviously I'm not wearing a mask right now talking to you, but you're not at risk of getting it through the internet. But no, I will be religiously wearing a mask as I leave the building. I will not be around anybody for the next 10 days without making sure that I have a mask, because that's the real danger. Once you have it, giving it to somebody else, and that's when a mask is most important.
So bringing it back here to our area in East Texas, several counties have shared that they will not be enforcing those mask mandates. Do you agree with that, even now learning your diagnosis?
I think this used to be what was called a free country, and people could do what they thought was appropriate. And if somebody feels strongly about everybody should wear a mask, then they shouldn't be around people that don't wear masks. But I do feel once somebody has been found to have the coronavirus, that they should wear a mask, preferably not even be in public. But if they are, absolutely wear a mask if you're found to have the COVID virus. I think that's important.
Right. So you're pushing the importance of wearing a mask once you actually are confirmed to have coronavirus, but it seems health experts are saying you should wear it even if you do not. Do you agree with that then, to protect yourself?
There are an awful lot of people that think it's the great thing to do all the time, but I can't help but think that if I hadn't been wearing a mask so much in the last 10 days or so, I really wonder if I would have gotten it. But I know, moving the mask around, getting it just right, I'm bound to put some virus on the mask that I sucked in. That's most likely what happened.
Mr. Gohmert, anything else you'd like to add about the coronavirus?
No. But thank you so much for your kindness.